Phrase 4. I want to change you. There are few things more disheartening in a relationship than hearing someone say, I want to change you. At first it may sound like a request for improvement or a desire to help you grow, but in reality, it's a sign of control and a lack of acceptance for who you truly are. This is not the kind of change that comes from mutual growth or a desire to evolve together. This is a statement that suggests you, in your current form, are not good enough. And that is something a Stoic would never tolerate. The Stoics understood the importance of self-awareness and self-acceptance. They believed in accepting ourselves as we are and striving to improve for the sake of personal growth, not for the approval or desires of others. A relationship should be built on mutual respect, trust, and acceptance. When someone says, I want to change you, what they are really saying is that they don't accept you for who you are. Instead of appreciating your individuality, they are trying to mold you into someone else, a version of yourself that fits their own preferences, ideals, or insecurities. Change in a relationship should never be about forcing someone to conform to your standards. It should be about supporting one another's growth and aspirations, recognizing that both individuals bring something valuable to the table. The Stoics believed that true growth comes from within, through self-reflection, discipline, and the pursuit of virtue. Trying to change someone externally, whether through manipulation, pressure, or persistent criticism, goes against the very idea of mutual respect that Stoic philosophy teaches. What's even more troubling about the phrase, I want to change you, is that it diminishes the concept of autonomy. The Stoics highly valued autonomy, the ability to live in alignment with your own values, to act in accordance with your own principles, and to remain true to yourself, despite external pressures. A Stoic would never allow someone to dictate who they should be, or force them to abandon their true nature. The Stoic sees value in their authenticity and integrity. When someone tells you they want to change you, they are questioning that authenticity, and that should never be accepted in a relationship. Moreover, staying in a relationship where you are constantly being pressured to change can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Over time, you might begin to question your worth or feel like you're never enough as you try to become what the other person wants. This can lead to a loss of self-esteem and ultimately a disconnection from your own values and identity. The Stoic would see this as a direct threat to their peace of mind and would walk away rather than succumb to someone else's vision of who they should be. In relationships, it's normal to encourage each other to grow and evolve, but this should always be a shared desire, never one that comes from a place of control or manipulation. A healthy relationship is one where both partners feel free to express their true selves, support each other's growth, and accept each other's flaws and imperfections. If someone is constantly trying to change you, it suggests that they don't value you for who you are. And if they don't value you for who you are, then the relationship is bound to be one-sided, toxic, and emotionally draining. The Stoic would advise that the moment you hear, I want to change you, you should take a step back and reflect. Ask yourself, does this relationship honor who I am, or is it trying to strip me of my authenticity? Am I being encouraged to grow as an individual, or am I being pressured into becoming someone I'm not? The Stoic knows that peace comes from within, and peace cannot exist in a relationship where you are constantly expected to change in ways that don't align with your true self. If you're constantly being told to change, then the relationship is built on an unstable foundation. You are not a project or a piece of clay to be molded. You are a person with your own values, boundaries, and identity. If someone refuses to accept that, the wise course of action is to walk away. A Stoic would understand that their worth is inherent and not dependent on the whims of others. They would walk away from any relationship that seeks to undermine their authenticity, knowing that true happiness comes from accepting themselves fully and without apology. Phrase 5. Why don't you do more for me? When you hear the words, "Why don't you do more for me?" it's easy to feel like you're falling short, as if no matter what you do, it will never be enough. This phrase is not just a simple request for more attention or effort. It's a subtle form of manipulation. It suggests that the other person is either unwilling to appreciate what you already bring to the relationship, or worse, that they feel entitled to more than you're capable of giving. And from the perspective of Stoic philosophy, this is a deeply troubling sign in a relationship that should make you seriously consider walking away. The Stoics emphasize the importance of balance and virtue in all aspects of life. In relationships, this means that both individuals should give freely, without expectation of constant return, but also without feeling obligated to give beyond their means. The core idea in Stoicism is not that you should give endlessly to the point of depletion, but rather that your actions should be guided by wisdom, moderation, and a sense of justice. If someone is demanding more and more from you without appreciating your efforts or acknowledging your contributions, it's a clear sign that the relationship has become unbalanced and unhealthy. This phrase, "Why don't you do more for me?" signals an expectation that you should constantly prove your worth through actions, with little regard for your own needs, desires, or emotional well-being. It places the burden of the relationship entirely on your shoulders and suggests that, despite everything you've already done, it's still not enough to satisfy the other person. This kind of behavior isn't about love or partnership. It's about entitlement, where your contributions are never seen as enough, no matter how much you give. The Stoic would recognize that such a dynamic is unhealthy and will only lead to emotional burnout and resentment. What makes this phrase particularly harmful is the sense of emotional manipulation embedded in it. Instead of engaging in an open, respectful conversation about needs and desires, it frames the issue as a failure on your part, creating unnecessary guilt and pressure. It turns the relationship into a transaction, where the worth of your actions is constantly being evaluated and judged, often without proper acknowledgement. A Stoic who values emotional resilience and inner clarity would see this as a form of emotional exploitation, where one person's needs continually outweigh the others. The Stoic approach to relationships is based on the idea that both individuals should enter into the relationship with a sense of equality and mutual respect. Both partners should be contributing in ways that honor each other's needs, while also respecting personal boundaries. If one partner is always demanding more, it disrupts this delicate balance and fosters a sense of resentment. Over time, this dynamic can erode trust, affection, and ultimately, the very foundation of the relationship itself. A Stoic would recognize that a relationship built on one-sided expectations is not one worth investing in, as it fails to honor the principles of fairness, respect, and mutual growth. Staying in a relationship where you are constantly expected to do more, where your efforts are never enough and your needs go unmet, will leave you emotionally drained and feeling unappreciated. You will find yourself questioning your worth, struggling with feelings of inadequacy, and resenting the imbalance that continues to grow. A Stoic would understand that such a relationship threatens their emotional stability and would choose to walk away in order to preserve their peace of mind. If you hear, "Why don't you do more for me?" and find that it's a recurring theme in the relationship, it's time to pause and reflect. The Stoic would ask, am I being valued for what I bring to the relationship? Or am I simply a tool to fulfill the other person's endless demands? Is my emotional well-being being respected, or is it being sacrificed to meet expectations that feel unfair or unreasonable? The Stoic understands that peace and happiness come from within, and they know that a relationship that continuously drains their energy and self-esteem is one they should walk away from. A healthy relationship is not about fulfilling endless demands. It's about mutual respect, appreciation, and support. If you find yourself constantly being asked to give more, and that more is never enough, it's time to step back and consider whether this relationship is truly serving your emotional and mental well-being. A Stoic would recognize that their peace of mind is far more important than remaining in a relationship that exploits their generosity and sacrifices their authenticity. It's time to walk away, knowing that true fulfillment comes from relationships that are balanced and rooted in mutual respect, not from the constant pursuit of an unattainable standard. Conclusion: protecting your peace and self-worth. As we've examined the 5 phrases we've discussed, I don't need you, you're too sensitive, you're just like all the others, I want to change you, and why don't you do more for me, are not just casual remarks. They reveal deeper issues in a relationship that can erode your emotional well-being and self-worth. These phrases indicate emotional detachment, manipulation, and a lack of respect, which can drain your peace of mind. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to value our inner peace and emotional autonomy, and to avoid relationships that compromise these essential qualities. The Stoics believe that true happiness comes from within, and that we must protect our emotional integrity. A relationship that undermines your sense of self-worth is not worth maintaining, no matter how much effort you put in. When faced with manipulation or disregard for your feelings, the Stoic response is clear: walk away. By doing so, you preserve your peace and avoid unnecessary emotional turmoil. It's essential to remember that no relationship should require you to sacrifice your peace, dignity, or happiness. The Stoic approach isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about understanding what you deserve and walking away when your emotional health is at risk. True relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and growth. If those qualities are missing, the relationship can become toxic, and walking away is the wise course of action. In the end, protecting your peace and self-worth is more important than staying in a relationship that diminishes them. The Stoic would advise that you trust your instincts, recognize when a relationship is no longer serving you, and walk away with dignity. By doing so, you make space for healthier, more fulfilling connections that honor your true self.